What's up, Internet?
What is up, Internet? I'm here with Warren the Destroyer Thompson. You're retired or you still fighting?
I guess technically I'm active, but I haven't fought in about 2 years. Had a foot surgery and won Lion Fights North American title and had that foot surgery. And since I haven't fought, but I haven't technically retired yet.
I got you. I understand.
You know how it is. The heart's
Oh,
still
no. It's crazy to want to walk away from stuff. It's
Yeah.
awful. Warren's a competitor, a long time seasoned veteran in combat sports. He runs a gym now locally. What is your position at Elev8 Fighting League?
So I am the head striking coach at Torch MMA, and then at Elev8 Fight League, I'm co-owner and I am the matchmaker.
That's awesome. So we're going to get into the meat of the conversation here in a little while, but we got to kind of build up to that, I feel like. Also, congratulations are in order. You just had a baby, right?
Thank you very much. Yeah, little Mac, he was just born about 3 weeks ago. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, he's healthy. Mama and him are doing well.
Little Mac, how'd that come about? How'd you do that?
I just wanted a different name, and we were thinking about a couple different names, and I play football, semi-pro football with the quarterback's name Mac, and I like that name. It's pretty unique, and I was like, man, Mac Thompson. It sounds like he's going to be a heavyweight champ or a NFL linebacker. I like it.
Yeah, it does, man. It's a great name. Congratulations. You tell Mama she did a great job. That's
Thank
awesome,
you.
man.
Appreciate it.
So how did you get into combat sports? What was that all? Were you fighting in school? Like, did it happen after school? How did that come about?
Correct. I was a very bullied child. And you hear that a lot from fighters, but I learned to fight, I guess, the first time 10 or 11 years old, stood up for myself, and it gave me some empowerment. And then I didn't get athletic till late in high school, so I was behind the 8 ball on that a little bit, and got out of high school. And some guy, I was into lifting weights, mentioned a gym close by here in about 2004. And I went and checked it out and loved it and signed my life away. And that was just the end of it right there. I was sick for it after that.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. People don't understand the itch, like I haven't competed on the level like you have or nothing, but the itch, man, the wanting to do that, dude, it's once you've done it one time, you're like, no, I can do that a lot. I can do that a lot. Nothing like it. There ain't nothing
there's no other feeling, no other endorphin like it. I mean, making love, taking drugs, partying, nothing is that feeling of getting in the ring, having success after you poured your heart into something.
That crazy, man. It's insane. So how many did you only do kickboxing? Did you do MMA too? What all did you do?
Yeah, I was successful amateur and at MMA. I won the WKA's national MMA belt as an amateur, the tournament, and then I fought some Muay Thai AMI, turned pro, went 6-1-1 pro MMA, was on the Ultimate Fighter season 11, got beat by Kyle Noak. Probably my most notable MMA wins against Chidi Njokuani in the UFC now. I fought him before he got there and right before I went on Tough. Very good fighter.
Yeah.
And then I got an offer after the Tough. I got an offer from Bellator and Glory. And I like striking. I really wasn't quite where I needed to be yet, but I beat a guy I shouldn't have in Thailand, Brian Dowles, who had just beat Rico Verhoeven. And that put me on the map because this guy had 80, 90 fights, and I beat him. And, it was a steep learning curve. Kind of got knocked out a few times with them, and my back and knees were bothering me, so I didn't do MMA anymore. I didn't like the wrestling aspect of jiu-jitsu as much, the training of it. And the fights was fine, but the training, I couldn't keep up because of my back. And so I said, I'll do striking. And then I retired for a little bit from some concussions, and I came back because I was still hungry. And I went 3-1 and won Lion Fights title, won at BKFC, beat Cody East out of the UFC in Lion Fight as well. And I moved up to heavyweight, and that was I felt a lot better there. I was a lot more healthy. My brain was a lot better. And so that was probably the trick for me. 6-0 at heavyweight overall.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't know all that. Like, we've never met. This is the first time we've ever actually spoke. I didn't know all that. It's very cool. You actually met, my coach actually met you a while back, Jeff Powell.
Yeah. Very good guy. Very good guy. Okay. Connecting the dots a little bit now. Yeah. Jeff's a very, very nice guy.
Yes, sir. Great guy, man. Great coach. Super, super awesome guy. He had nothing but good stuff to say about you. I don't remember how you ended up meeting, but it was just all good stuff. He was
appreciate that.
I don't want to say he was starstruck because, I don't want to say it like that, but he was happy to have met you.
It's a small world when you get up to the I want to say the international or elite level strikers or guys, like we all know each other, eventually, or meet somebody that knows each other. You know what I mean? Like it's you can look around the room and tell kind of who's supposed to be there. But Jeff was a great guy. You could tell he's very knowledgeable in the sport. It was great to meet him.
Oh, that's awesome, and that's gonna make his day if he hears that. So, it's not like you got into promoting shows without experience. You've been doing this a long time. You had a whole lot of high level experience. I know Chitty, not personally. I know the name. I know Cody East. I know the name. I know a lot of the names. I know Rico Verhoeven for sure. Boxing, we all know who that guy is. That's awesome that you beat a guy that beat him. That's awesome. So it's not like you just got. So after. You're kind of on your break from competing. At what point did you decide, hey, I'm going to start dabbling in promoting?
Like we were talking about the feeling, I was sick for it. I was lost in my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do next. I was like, man, I want to fight, but I'm getting older. The injuries are adding up. I'm coaching, but it's not satisfying the itch. And I felt like I knew a lot of the fighters. I knew a lot of the gyms. I knew what they go through. I was always good with. I managed myself 90% of my career. So I knew kind of the ins and outs of talking with, the shows and whatnot. And the red tape I wasn't quite familiar with. And that kind of is what we're going to get into. Some of the stuff that I needed to know, but I knew the meat of it and I could match fights. I knew I had an eye for it. And that's what led me to it. I started meeting, different people that want to partner with and see if I get involved in it. And I thought it was a great idea.
Awesome. So it wasn't like a money thing. You were like, hey, I just want to be around it.
Yes. So, I mean, let's be honest. I've done so many different odd jobs. I have a few different businesses now. I do security, personal training, coaching, consulting, power washing, whatever it takes to make ends meet to feed the kids. But is it good to maybe make some money doing what I love? Of course it is.
100%.
But it was not money driven to be like, let me start a show to make money. I had no idea even what you could make from it. Put it that way.
Now, so I gotta ask: are y'all like cleaning house on your money? Are you making a whole chunk of change, or how's that go? Because for me in Alabama, it's expensive. We'll talk on that a little bit, but like,
we have no sponsors, major sponsors yet. We have a few local ones here and there. No TV deals. We don't stream it. We sell at the gate very well in our city, though. I sell tickets well here. I'm known in this area. Gary is as well. So we offer an experience, and we only do a show quarterly right now. So it's sold at the gate pretty well. At first, we made no money. We went in the hole the first show or two because the ring, the expenses, it's so many little expenses you don't even know. And then the past couple, we've been able to make a profit finally, and it's been good. And we've been reinvested into our sound systems and stuff like that, just trying to get a better show. And so that's the goal, was grow it organically.
Just grow, man. Yeah, not growth for growth's sake. Just grow naturally. Let it go. That's cool. I dig that a lot. So, how do you say it? At what point did you say finally? So, how many shows have you had at this point?
6 shows.
6 shows, man. That's a chunk already. We only made it to 11 before we kind of started having some issues with this. And we were having issues with the state the whole time. They didn't want to let us work. And that's partly why I wanted to talk to you. Once it was Dalton, right? Dalton McKay that linked us up, I think
it may have been. Yeah.
Once he said y'all should talk about it, I instantly wanted to, because I'm like, no, that don't really seem fair. So at what point did you say, man, these are going pretty good? This is growing. This is going great. And how was that? Because I know there had to be a go ahead.
So the funny part is, and this will get into it, I have a lot of, I guess, past relationship with the NFC here, and they've been around about 20 years. I fought for them 7, 8 times, most of the time a main event, made them some money on tickets. I was treated fairly well. And that was, for the most part, the main show here for a long time. There'd be some come and go. David and I talked about me doing a show under his banner. And I just didn't want to do that route because I felt it grew his name more. And I wanted some individuality. I knew I'd put in a lot of work in this sport. And the hard road, especially, I took tough fights. I never fought anybody with sub 500 record when we fought them. I wouldn't do it. So 40 some fights, tough fights. And
you paid the dues.
So when I met Gary, and I wanted to do that, and from the very beginning I could tell that it ruffled feathers on that side. And David has a lot of pull, and that's going to get into what I talk about here. Is he had some people in places through the years that he had gotten that place in that position, or they worked with each other to get in that position to influence the MMA here and the Muay Thai here and the shows here. So the first show or two went fine. It was a learning experience. I mean, because it's a whirlwind. It's so much stuff that goes into it. I had no idea. The paperwork, this, that, and the other. I will say this. I feel that our director here, Matt Woodruff, is very ethical. He tried to answer what I asked. There's not a whole lot of setup in place, like a checklist for a new promoter. So we were kind of jumping in the deep end and swimming, and some mistakes are made on our end. 100%. Like, we try to get everything we're asked for. Some of the stuff's not asked for, and we maybe didn't dot the I's and cross the T's on that stuff because we were learning they were rules or small infractions that were brought to our attention. We fixed. And that's one thing with us. If it is brought to our attention, I fix it right away. There is no waiting, no arguing. If you mess this up, we fix it. And it was, I guess, in August, which would have been our third show, is when we started having problems. And that coincides with when Clay Bennett, I guess, was in 2023 put on the commission, that he started showing up to our events. And he was not working our events. He's just a board member. They can show up to events.
For people that don't know, where else does Clay Bennett, who does he affiliate with?
Okay, this is where it's big. Clay Bennett was David Oblas's jiu-jitsu coach. He's NFC's matchmaker and referee and runs their jiu-jitsu. He's also on their webpage up until 2 days ago as staff. They removed it after I brought that to their attention. He's also on their Facebook NFC Fight Night page promoting his jiu-jitsu events alongside where David promotes his MMA events. So it's coinciding with that. And he's just, I mean, on a personal level, good friends with David. They openly play poker together every week. It goes pretty deep. His relationship with David goes pretty deep, and that's where it's a conflict of interest. David don't want me having a show. He made that clear. He wants to be the only guy in the state, because it's a money power thing. It really is. He can control the narrative, the fighter pay, when, who, what fights, the roster. He can match them easier when he has them all. And so Clay was coming and finding some small infractions and threatened to shut the show down over selling Sprite cans, which was in the rule book we didn't know about, but it is not enforced. Never has been. And the head official that night told him it had never been enforced, and he works all these events for years. Clay called the director. The director said, "We will handle it Monday. That's never been enforced. We'll talk about it. And if it's something that we need to talk about, we'll address it then. But it's not something, an infraction you should shut a show down for." So we went with that. On the way, Gary, my business partner, had done a podcast in the past that had Gary's a wrestling promoter. Okay. He talks a lot. He said somebody had asked him, and I was aware of this before I worked with Gary. I actually checked into it because I'm big on integrity. Gary said the guy asked him something about, if you're running a wrestling show on the same night, or there was another fight night, he said, "I'd probably put him out of business. My show's better," whatever.
He's promoting. That's the job.
That's the job. Oh,
man. That's the job. So if Dana White if Dana White puts a commercial out tomorrow and says, "Hey man, we've got some guys that are going to fight and they're pretty okay. They're not as good as the other guys up the road, but you should come buy tickets to our show." Ain't nobody coming. That's the job.
That's the darn job. Man. And that's where I stand with Gary. And I told Oblas, I said, "Man, you can't. He's literally promoting. That's what he does. He's Vince McMahon." And I said, "But don't question my integrity." I even said, "David, I'll let you know when my event dates are. I won't run on your weekends, yada, yada, yada." 3 months in, guess who's canceling shows and moving them to the days of my events or days before my events after we had announced it? Him, not me. So, man, it started getting a little testy, and I still didn't say nothing. I said nothing. I stayed quiet. I told Gary, I said, "Just keep our noses down." Clay told Gary, he said, "Stay off podcast." I said, "Gary, how? It's not about him. Nobody's spoken about the commission yet." So he's protecting David's interest in his own words. I have people that will go under subpoena and admit to Clay saying that Oblas is who got him or helped get him on the commission. And that's going to come. That's going to come out. And it goes deeper than that. I mean, I went to this meeting after we showed up for our, so Clay found out our LLC had expired. And to explain that video earlier, I had explained that our accountant put it in. It's our fault, a clerical error. She put in the word Elev8, spelled it out. Our logo, our emails, everything is ELEV8. So we never got the renewal for the $125 damn LLC. Forgot to pay it. Clay caught on to it. Somebody looked it up. Somebody, investigated it. It's not something they check for. It's not a rule you have to have an LLC. That protects me and Gary. If somebody fell and slipped on a pile of poop and sued us, that protects you as the business owner.
I get that.
So he found out, he was told by the commission, the SOS and the lawyers, that is not a rule. You can't suspend him for that, whatever. He said, well, we can suspend Gary for lying on the event permit, or possibly, hypothetically, the insurance may not have paid out if somebody got hurt, or the bond.
Now, this is Clay saying this?
That's Clay saying this, and some of the other board members discussing it. They were discussing back and forth, but nobody knows the true answer because there wasn't an insurance claim. So we don't know. It was for 2 shows. And so they wanted to suspend us for it. And we said, no, we don't want to be suspended for it. We want an administrative hearing. So after we said that, we had put in a June 8th permit. We're still in good standing with the state. They table it. They can't do that. How can you table a promoter in good standing? So effectively, you're suspending us before we're suspended. We were not granted the due process of their own rules. We were not. They effectively took away our chance of doing business without even following their own procedure.
Without sitting down and talking about it.
We get correct. So with no, we weren't suspended. They were being the judge, jury, executioner, and assuming that we were in the wrong. And there's a good chance we are not, because it's not a written rule. And they were speaking hypotheticals with the punishment. It wasn't on their checklist. They didn't check it. Insurance didn't check it. And mind you, Gary is a writer and the building on that policy. The policy's pulled. It's sent to the commission to approve before the event. So here we are with that. And when I walk into that commission meeting, I'm looking around and I see also the vice chairman is David Oblas's fight doctor. And I say, he's a man of integrity. I'm not questioning his integrity. He has not once been like Clay and made it obvious he's coming for other people. But is that not a conflict of interest? So they said, well, he doesn't take pay. Well, I was sent from this past week's show on their canvas. There's Dr. Traub's logo on NFC's canvas. But yeah, he's a state official. Now, the real question will be, when Dr. Traub sees these fighters after that, does he get paid from these insurance claims? Is he doing it all free, or does the insurance pay Dr. Traub? That's what I'd like to ask. And if he is made a dime off the insurance claim, conflict of interest, corruption, collusion, you name it, Clay being on staff, conflict of interest, collusion to do Oblas's bidding in this commission, David had his hands in everybody's pockets in this commission. And I haven't even talked about Traub yet. That's for next week. I feel like I don't want to question that man's integrity. He may not even know or understand how big of a conflict of interest this is. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I understand. Now, and just to be clear, I've spoke with David a few times. We've never done any business. We've never broke bread, anything like that. I've spoken to him a few times, and I've never had a problem with him, right? And just me and you have never met. I'm not bringing you on here to trash anybody, nothing like that. If
Correct.
David wanted to come on and tell his part, I would do the same. And if y'all two wanted to come on and talk head to head, I would do the same. I'm always
100% agree with that. All I want is the truth. But the problem is
go ahead. Well, the problem for me is once they suspended your show and Clay Bennett does work there, that looks incredibly weird. Like, he is making a whole lot of people money and getting a whole lot of people, seems like, cool jobs, at least a few buddies, really cool jobs. And that does seem strange to me. There's a tale, I'm not going to say any names just because, like you said, their integrity and stuff. But there was a guy here that when the state first started going legal, he pushed and pushed and pushed to get everything his way, and he did. And for a long time, it was just going to be his shows in the state, man. And that ain't fair. It shouldn't come down to what I can do for a buddy or what I can do for somebody else. It should come down to, hey, I want to work. I should be allowed to do my work. Now, what was you going to say is the problem?
Very, very similar that you hit on that. David wants the control and the power, right? I don't think David is necessarily a bad guy. He's protecting his interest. I don't feel like Dr. Traub is a bad person at all. And that is an upstanding person and a doctor. I'm not questioning his integrity. Okay. This is not personal. This is about the bigger picture of conflict of interest and how can we remotely, as a whole, as a society in the state of Georgia, especially, you expect the integrity of the commission to be there when they're working with one show who obviously, and he's made it clear when they called me, Charlene, who is part of his business, called me a snake on the NFC, and they kicked me off that NFC community because they said I'd spy on them. So you tell me, how can we take that commission seriously? How can we be trustful of them? We can't. You can't. It's impossible.
And I'll agree a little bit, not a little bit, a lot. If they're going to sit there and put their buddies into positions, and then he is working for the show, it all traces back to them kind of setting themselves up for success. And it looks like it's a little hard on everyone else. Whether they meant good by it or not is irrelevant. Right. It does not look good. You know, whatever was meant by it, right? We wanted to grow the sport. We want to do this. Everybody wants to be the guy, man.
With like-minded people from you there, but the problem is it's not inclusive at that point.
No, it's you setting your buddy up for success, and that's a problem, man. That's weird, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out. So you had a show for June, you said, lined up.
Yeah, so June 8th, it was there, but they tabled it. So I'm not suspended, but I got tabled. So that's another problem that I just literally thought of yesterday when I was talking to the Mr. Executive Director. I said, Matt, it should have got a vote. He said, you make a valid point. It should have got a vote. Like, why did we not get a vote if we're in good standing? At NFC and many people on these forums keep saying, y'all aren't suspended. You're selling those suspended shirts. Well, why can't we do a show? You tell me.
Man, so we called our last show AFC 11. It might be 12, but we called it blacklisted because they had priced us out. They didn't want to do the work. We don't make them Alabama football money. We don't make them WWE money. They tried to suspend me for grabbing a guy and throwing him out of the cage. And they told me I had to come out for a meeting and they were going to suspend my shows and yada, yada. And then the next week, a WWE guy had a show and they threw a guy out on his neck. And they cut that. They said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. You can't pick and choose. The rules need to be the same for everybody. If they thought you were sitting over here setting up your buddies for success and trying to get them in, it's going to be a legal issue.
Yeah, they wouldn't be happy if I did that. They wouldn't be happy if my friend that works at Elev8, I'm like, hey, man, I'm putting him on the commission. And it just wouldn't be cool.
Well, what if you start?
I want my fight doctor on the commission. And he's going to work my shows for me. I'm going to put the logo on the ring. That ain't right.
No. And let's say even past that, let's skip the legalities of it. Let's say you started strong arming. Could you beat most of them up?
What do you mean, in a physical altercation?
Could you beat up David and Clay?
No comment.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But if you were to start, there you go. Great answer. Great answer. Not to put you in a weird spot, but if you were to start threatening to do things like that, that's going to be an issue. There's no difference in you threatening someone to do something that you want done and them getting what they want done in a shady, underhanded way. There's no difference. Great answer.
I tried to be. It's hard for me because I don't want to make enemies in the sport.
I understand.
I'm a martial artist. I don't want to be petty. I don't want to be personal. And I'm making sure a lot of people sent me a lot of personal crap on one of these guys. And to be honest, that doesn't.
It's personal.
No. If I start being petty like that, it takes attention. I don't care what his personal life is. It takes attention off the real problem. And that's the corruption problem.
100%.
I really want to focus on what's right and wrong here. I could care less what type guy he is. I don't got to be friends with him. I don't want to be friends with him. And that's the point. We're in a common goal of growing the sport and being fair in the sport. If I'm friends with him, it could question my integrity and his integrity in making decisions. We can all be we're business associates. We're in the same goal, as far as growing the sport, but that should be it,
You just want to work and pursue happiness, yeah?
That's right. That's right.
Ugh, that's an inalienable right, man. That's inalienable. We're allowed to
I'm
do
in a rough
that.
spot right now, but I feel I'm making the right fight. I really am. And I even hate to question some of these guys because I don't feel like they're, on some accounts, there's some malice with one person. On another account, I don't feel like, for instance, Dr. Traub, I don't feel there's malice there, at least to my knowledge, but yet it's still, I didn't even notice it myself. People sent me this stuff, be like, is that a conflict of interest? His name is in the ring and now he's working their events. And even if he doesn't take a dime, but now his business is being advertised by them. Yeah. That's making money. That's making money, and that's tying his name to them. And he can't be a government official, a darn appointed government official, and be this way. And same thing with Clay. He was on their website as staff. Can't be this way. It can't. It's not fair. Not
I
just.
agree. I agree. Now I gotta ask. Let's say they do suspend that June show. I've seen you kind of chomping at the bit. We're not entirely the same, but man, we're not different. We're
Right.
passionate people about what we love and things like that. What's the plan if they do suspend that show? What's the next step?
We already anticipated, because it takes so much time in planning and booking. June is suspended. I'm sorry. We're looking for probably end of summer or fall return. And we're focusing every bit of profit we made from the last show is going to what we can put towards our lawyer funds. We're selling t-shirts towards our lawyer fees. We're going to fight this good fight, but it doesn't just affect me. I have so many other promoters that have reached out that feel like they're getting pressure, not in the exact same way from us right now that we are right now, but especially it's not stopped, this will be a one show state for a very long time. So the fight is worth it. The fight is worth it. And I'm going to fight that fight.
Amen. Amen. I got to ask, is there tribal land in Georgia near y'all?
Somebody mentioned that to me. That I don't know about, or about doing I guess it's you could do it on federal property or something with a different commission. Or
now the federal property I don't know, but I do know for sure on tribal land you can get sanctioned by like ISKA or something else.
Right. Okay.
But again, it's so like if you go to Mississippi or you go over to Warrior, Alabama, it's got to be real. It's got to be legit. Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so angry, not to lump you in with me, but like I said, we did 11 shows, stressed, man. And at some point it started getting just out of hand with the way they didn't want to work. And I said, man, I'm going to do an unsanctioned show. I'll show them. I was just fired up about it. I didn't ever do that. We never came to that. But I do think I don't want to say it wrong. Is it tribal land? I think the tribal land is not a route that you should avoid. I think it's something you can look at. Any option that you can have to where you can keep it in your state.
I agree.
But also, like you said,
we definitely need to look into that. It hadn't even crossed my radar because I'm just so
fired up
about this, and just I feel it's the right fight to do.
100%.
It's a very noble cause. The one I didn't want, but it's here. It's in front of me. And I always said in fighting, I was always a yes man. I'll fight anybody, anytime, any place. Why not me? Send me. I'll go first. And I feel like I've seen a lot of people run from this fight in the past, similar situations, and I'm not running. I'm right here. I'm right here. Come get me.
Amen. Long term, what do you hope happens? And that's the last question I got, and then I'm gonna let you close out and stuff. I ain't gonna take your whole Friday. What do you hope is the solution to this? What do you hope happens?
I really hope that everybody can see what's for common good, not just for one or the other. What's for common good, what is common sense and logical here. And I want to be able to work with the commission in this state. I want to be able to, to do it how they want it done, and it be fair, a fair playing field. That's all I seek. I don't want there to be a conflict of interest with any shows. They shouldn't be my people in there, shouldn't be his people in there, shouldn't be anybody's people in there. It's that cut and dry. It's black and white when it comes to that. It's that darn cut and dry. And that's all I seek. There's some great men and women at the commission. Like I said, Director Woodruff has, to my entire knowledge, been ethical and honest this entire time. There's a couple commissioners that have been to my knowledge, been ethical and honest this entire time. I just need them to look at their peers and ask why. Because if not, you then are complicit. If you're covering this up, if you're trying to make excuses for that, you then are complicit. I brought it to your attention. I would like it handled.
I understand. Is there anything at all that you think I missed? Is there anyone at home you kind of want to shout out to? Any fan, any people, anything at all like that? Feel free to go ahead.
I'd like to thank everybody I'm not going to say my supporters. This is not just my fight. I want to thank everybody that's reached out to the state reps, our district rep in this county that went to the Capitol yesterday. Thank everybody for wanting the truth and wanting what's right. It's very easy to see what's right and wrong in this. That's the funny part, and how we're getting a little back pushed by it. This is two separate issues. The little LOC suspension, whatnot, big deal. A couple months, whatever. It's when I noticed the corruption, the collusion, the ethical violations that I was like, this is a real big thing, and this is going to get much worse for us in the future and everybody else in the future. So I just wanted it to be nipped in the butt and do what's right. And I appreciate everybody who supported that.
Amen. Warren, I've never met you face to face, man. I'm so unbiased in all this that I can't stress it enough. I don't really have a dog in the race. I do want to see everything right, and people that want to do work, I feel like, and pursue happiness, I feel like that should be unobstructed. Period. I really, really do appreciate you coming on here. I hope to do this again sometime. Good luck to you moving forward. Happy Easter. Congratulations on that baby, man. If y'all tuned in, we really, really appreciate it. Share it around, Warren. I thought it was a pretty good interview, man. We got 30 minutes pretty fast, and we'll see what people have to say about it, man.
And I appreciate you. And I want to basically very much so agree with you. I don't want NFC to go anywhere. You don't have to take sides here. That's not what I want. I want you to be in the middle. And by being in the middle, you would logically see what's happening in the conflict of interest. So NFC should be around, brings great opportunities to fighters. So should I. So should other promoters, and they all should get a fair shake. Thank you, guys.
Hey, man, brother. Hey, God bless you, Warren. I really, really appreciate the time, man. Y'all have a great weekend and a happy Easter.
Appreciate you.
Good luck, guys. Thank you, man.